meeting of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee to order. I forgot to assign opening circle last time, so that's on me. So I have the opening circle. It's graduation season, so I apologize to the sixth grade parents that already heard this, but this was on the program at the sixth grade graduation this week, and it made me think of our committee. The quote is by French poet and novelist Anatole France. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. And it made me think of us because I feel like this is one of the things that kind of joins us together, this belief that the diversity in Woodbridge is our strength. And it is kind of our mission and our job to put that belief into action, to uplift and celebrate that diversity. And it's where those two things, the belief and the action, converge, it's where the magic happens. So, yeah, it was intended for the sixth grade inspiration, but it made me think of us. Okay, so moving on, we have again the AAPI youth group here. Thank you for joining us again this evening and for your presentation last month. We sent this group some follow-up questions based on the presentation that they gave last month. And so what we'll do, if you guys don't mind, if you could just introduce yourselves again really quickly for those folks that weren't here last month, and then I will kind of ask the questions that I already submitted to you, and you can answer them. And then if the committee has any further questions, we'll go around and conclude with that. Okay, so however you'd like to start, please go ahead. Just yeah, quick introduction, and then we'll get into questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'll start, and then Linda, if you want to go next, and then Linju or Paula. Sorry, I never remembered which nickname you prefer. But hi everyone. My name is Jessie. I'm a junior who goes to Amity Regional High School. I live in Woodbridge. And yeah, we're a group called API Youth Advocates, which was basically a group formed initially to begin a petition in Woodbridge to allow Mika and the local government to recognize Lunar New Year as an official holiday through a proclamation. From there, we kind of grew our organization. We invited more and more students across Connecticut to help us and expand our mission to more than just the petition and into organizing events, raising awareness around Asian communities and advocating for them. And so, as I said, our first step in our today is mostly to focus on the proclamation. And so we're super excited to be meeting with all of you here today and really excited to help out as much as we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jessie, for that amazing introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Linda. Alongside with Jessie, we were the two founders of this organization. And, besides the proclamation, some other things that we're trying to do are like, film festivals and some other things to really shed light on API history. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk with you guys and see how this goes continuing forward.
Thank you, Linda.
Hi. My name is Ling Chu Wang, and my Chinese name is, my English name is Paula, and I'm a member of API Youth Advocate, and I'm really glad to be here and join the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Is that okay? So we're good with introduction. So just a brief recap. The first selectman put us in touch with this group. Like they have mentioned, they have started an initiative to raise awareness about the Lunar New Year, specifically how it's recognized in Woodbridge. And at this point, and please clarify if I misspeak. At this point, they're asking from the town a few things. A public statement from the first selectman in the form of a proclamation, perhaps the inclusion of Lunar New Year on the town calendar, and also like a general like encouraging of participation in Lunar New Year activities and celebrations to help increase the awareness of the holiday. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that's correct. The only thing that I will say very quickly is that our main priority is the proclamation. Our
Okay.
second goal would be just the inclusion on the town calendar and encouragement, but the proclamation is our main priority.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I had gathered some questions that we had that this group had after our last meeting and sent them over to these students. And if I'll just ask them out loud so the committee is aware of the questions, and then feel free to respond. So the first question was, of the 288 signatures collected thereabouts, could you break down for us how many of those, because we know it's like a local effort, how many of those are Woodbridge residents, adult Woodbridge residents, and then if you know Woodbridge residents that participate in celebrating the Lunar New Year?
Yeah, I'll start by answering this question, and if any of my other members have anything to add on, you can jump in after. Also, I have a little bit of Wi-Fi issues right now, so if I lag out or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll be happy to repeat whatever I said.
You're coming in
So
great,
I
thank you.
was Okay, great. So I was mostly the one who was managing the petition. And as I said, initially our goal was just to focus on Woodbridge, but then later on, as we progressed with the petition and it was kind of gaining a little bit of traction, we figured that we wanted to continue to expand our signature base and potentially also use this as evidence or as support for other initiatives beyond just Woodbridge. So like in Bethany, New Haven, other places like that. So because of that, we ended up sharing our petition beyond just people that we knew were in Woodbridge. And that's how we ended up accumulating our 280 signatures. But in terms of Woodbridge residents and their demographic information, unfortunately, the platform we used has a little bit of trouble in terms of determining where they are and their age. So the best information that we can get is that whenever people signed up to sign the petition, they just have to put in their zip code and their name. And so because of that, if let's say someone was traveling for that time and they chose to sign up during that time, then they would automatically just put the zip code of where they were currently and not necessarily where they reside. And so I know when I spoke to a couple of people who I knew were from Woodbridge, they actually put in the zip code that they were traveling at the time. And so because of that, some of the information is a little bit skewed. But just from a very quick rundown and basic search from our database, we saw that there was about 40 or so signatures that inputted their location as Woodbridge. But again, this can be a little bit skewed. And then outside of that, I know you guys also asked for some more information in terms of whether or not they were adult residents. And unfortunately, just because of the platform we used, we don't have access to that kind of information. Ahara, you're muted.
Are you say for 40 signature from the Woodbridge? You were 40 not from Woodbridge.
Oh, sorry. I meant 40 signatures were from Woodbridge.
So majority of them are not from Woodbridge.
Yeah, just because, as I said, our goal was to share it more broadly. So that it ended up expanding our signature base just because we had our goals shifted a little bit as we progressed with the petition. But we ended up actually creating a survey earlier this weekend just so that we could gain a little bit more specific data on residents and their age. We sent that out and we're still collecting responses, so I'm not going to share the data we found just because as of right now our response is a little bit low, and so I don't think it's sufficient evidence to support what we're saying here. But as we move forward with that survey, we're hoping to collect some more information on their residents' information. And so in the coming weeks, if we end up having another meeting, we'll be happy to share that later on to give some more specific data. Lin Shu, I think you were about to say
thank
something.
you.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, a lot of this data was taken during the spring breaks vacations. And so there are a lot of people traveling during that time, and a lot of people is not in Woodbridge. So we believe that this data is not that reliable. So
Okay.
so we are like collecting data as much as we can.
Thank you. So the reason we were asking specifically about Woodbridge is because this would be a Woodbridge initiative. We were looking to find out how many of these signatures were folks in Woodbridge that are interested and in this endeavor. Okay, so we'll put a pin in that for now. Next question had to do with Lunar New Year on the town calendar. We were wondering, when you were looking through the town calendar, were there other analogous recognitions or holidays that you found? Is there a precedence for this, for inclusion of a holiday like Lunar New Year on the calendar?
Yeah, so I can take that question. So after we looked at the town calendar, we realized that there weren't really any recognition of any holidays on the town calendar. However, we did reach out to some other towns, and we did realize that there were precedents in other town calendars. And so we believe that including it, if it is a possibility and something that we want to pursue, that including it would help us strive towards more inclusion. And so for reference, one of the calendars are like the Farmington calendar that have all of the holidays and stuff like that.
Does the Farmington calendar include, like, what other holidays does the Farmington calendar include?
Yeah, so it includes I can't pronounce it, but it's Makar Sankranti. I don't know if I said that correctly. It has Lunar New Year. It has another one called Shivaratri. I don't know if I pronounced. I really apologize if I pronounced that wrong. It has Ramadan. It has Eid. It has Holi. It has Passover. Visakha Puja. Juneteenth. Indigenous Peoples Day. Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur. A lot of those. I can send the link in the
Okay.
chat too if that is helpful.
Yeah, and this is the Farmington town calendar, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's get through the rest of these. If you've researched other local towns and town governments, how are they recognizing Lunar New Year? Are there other local towns that are doing something like that?
Yeah. I'll take this question. So we've actually been working very closely with an organization called APEC. It's the Asian Pan-American Coalition, and they've done a lot of great work throughout Connecticut to do very similar things as what we're advocating for now. So for example, they've worked especially in the Hartford area with East Hartford, with Wethersfield and Rocky Hill, to do exactly what we're doing, have each town give an official citation or proclamation. And we actually worked with them to figure out the language we wanted you guys to use. What they've done specifically is they've had a festival or some sort of event. And then they've had the town issue a citation around the time of that event, just so it would support that event even more and be a little bit more, I guess, more relevant. But as of our efforts, we're mostly focusing on the proclamation and the citation, specifically without the event part attached. We are going to be doing a couple more events later down the line, but we figured that the citation would take priority as of right now. So in terms of what towns they've worked with specifically, as I said, they worked with more so in the Hartford area, but they've also worked with New Haven as of right now. They've been working with them to get a citation out soon for their upcoming Lunar New Year festival. In addition to that, they've had Wethersfield, Hartford, Rocky Hill, and they also worked with the governor to issue their official proclamation earlier this year in February. And so, as I said, we worked really closely with them to figure out the language, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this later, but the draft that we've provided has very similar language to the language that they use for every other town. And so there's a good amount of precedent that other local towns have done similar initiatives and done even more to recognize Lunar New Year.
Sarah, can I just ask a clarifying question? I'm
Sure.
assuming when you say citation, proclamation, sort of interchangeably, just depending on the issuing entity, and you're not looking technically for two separate things, is that right?
Yes, yeah, I'm using them interchangeably. So specifically, proclamation is more so like on the governor's level, while citation would be the official term for the town level, at least from what we've been told. But yeah, I'm just using them interchangeably.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. I was wondering the same thing. Okay, two more. So we understand that you're not looking to go to the schools or to the Board of Eds right now for asking for days off. But if you could just educate us a little bit for those of us that are not familiar with the holiday. Um, if it were a holiday with a day off, how does one spend the day celebrating? How would you be observing this day?
I'll take these questions. So, usually, Asian, we view like a Lunar New Year as like a day of united with your family, and like it's a time when you you have a dinner with your family and friends, and where like sometimes you have people come from all over places, and you have gifts and write like envelopes for the kids, and also we also have like a New Year performance that we like watch together during the night, and there's also a tradition where like you're supposed to stay up late for the whole night, so you're waiting for the next year to come. And yeah, it's but it's like different celebrate it's like a different celebration in different culture. From my perspective, I'm come from China, so I'm telling more about how we celebrate it in China. And but usually it's like a much longer celebration. Sometimes it takes even up to 2 weeks. And so yeah, it's like the biggest festival of the whole year. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, if I could just jump in
Go
very
ahead.
quickly.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add, answering more so part of the question that asked specifically about if we had the day off, what we would do for our families and how we would celebrate. And then, Linda or Lin Chu, if you want to add anything. So specifically, if I had the day off, I would mostly be helping my family prepare for a feast with a bunch of different cultural dishes. And then, as Lin Chu mentioned, we would spend the day watching the lion dance performance, which is what Lin Chu was talking about when she meant performance. And then additionally, most of the time, like Lin Chu said, it's a time for family, it's a time for uniting and meeting with your relatives that you haven't seen, you haven't seen too often. And so we would probably spend the day visiting relatives, eating food, just spending time with our families so that we're able to really understand and appreciate our culture. I think especially for these more first generation Asian Americans, they end up losing their touch and their connection with their heritage and culture just because there's so much of an emphasis placed on education and on assimilation within American culture that oftentimes celebrating holidays like Lunar New Year is a way for us to reconnect and take a step back from all of that education, all that intensity, and really just appreciate our time with our families.
Thank you. Thank you for that elaboration. Thanks to all of you. And then last question before I open up to the committee members for follow-up. and you touched on this a little bit. You do have some kind of draft of proclamation slash citation. You have some wording for that. How would you like to share that with us?
Yeah, so I think if it's okay, would you want me to share my screen very quickly just so I can get the wording, or do you want me to read it out loud? Because I see the chat is disabled, and we do have a Google document as well that we could share the link. So it's totally to Tahara.
Okay. What do you think, Ellen?
Yeah, well, I think sending the link definitely so that we can all look at it at our leisure. And I would say for now, if you would read it to us slowly, that would be a great start because, you know, we'll all need to have some time to think about this and I'm sure discuss it at our subsequent meetings. And so having the document will be very helpful. I don't know what others think, but I think reading it to us would be a great start.
That sounds good. Let's do that.
Also,
Thank
if I
you.
might interject here,
Yes.
in Webex, in the panels, there's a participant panel, there's a chat panel, there's also a folder or a content panel where they could just drop the file in there, if that makes sense. And then,
Yeah,
I'm not that
and then
familiar. I
everybody
don't
could
know if we'll
just,
have access to it after the fact.
you wouldn't, but everyone who has on a computer could grab the document from that
see.
spot, and then they would have it.
As long as it's not instead of, because like Tahira, I'm not confident I will see it there. So.
Right. Okay.
Just an observation.
Thank you.
Okay,
So yeah, whenever you're ready, Jesse.
Okay, I just very quickly added the file to the content tab. So, you know, if you're able to access that, please pull that up. But afterwards, we'll also send the link out so that you guys can all have it. But I will read it out very slowly. It's pretty short. It's just like, it's less than a page. Whereas today we share appreciation for the more than 1,000 Asian residents who call Woodbridge home. Whereas the holiday known as Lunar New Year is celebrated by nearly 2 billion people around the world. Whereas the Asian community in Woodbridge has made significant cultural, economic, and political contributions to the state. Whereas acknowledging Lunar New Year creates opportunities for schools to affirm their students' identities across all communities. Whereas recognizing Lunar New Year promotes cross-cultural empathy. Now, therefore, I, Mika Cardozo, do hereby proclaim the date of Lunar New Year, which varies annually according to the lunar calendar, in honor of the diverse communities, of the diverse Asian communities who continue to make our Woodbridge vibrant and thriving.
Could I ask you to just read that last part? What does he declare at the end?
Yeah. Now, therefore, I, Mika Cardozo, do hereby proclaim the date of Lunar New Year, which varies annually according to the lunar calendar, in honor of the diverse Asian communities who continue to make our Woodbridge vibrant and thriving.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So those are the questions that I gathered from this committee during our last meeting, and I'm going to open it up now to the committee again if you can stay for some follow-up questions. Does anyone from our committee have any questions for the group? You can just unmute yourself and ask because I can't see everyone on my screen at once, so please feel free.
Hi, I apologize for being late. So this question may have been asked and answered, and if it has, I, again, apologize. My question is simply, and hearing the proclamation, the way I'm understanding is it's recognizing Lunar New Year as a celebration of Asian culture broadly. And so my question is, in your sort of querying, to what extent are Korean Americans and Japanese Americans and others identifying with Lunar New Year as sort of a Pan-Asian holiday versus a Chinese-specific holiday?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one last time?
Sure. Basically, what I'm asking is, in a sense, the way the proclamation reads, to my understanding, not having it in front of me, it sounds like it's characterizing Lunar New Year as a pan-Asian, sort of a celebration of Asian culture. To what extent are Korean Americans, Japanese Americans, Laotian Americans, other, people of other countries in the Asian region seeing Lunar New Year as a Pan-Asian holiday versus being a Chinese-specific holiday?
Yeah, definitely. I'll take this question on, and then of course, Linshu or Linda, if you have anything else to add, feel free to add on. Sorry. So I think definitely the goal of our proclamation was to, yes, promote Lunar New Year as beyond just a Chinese associated holiday. I think in the past years, we've always we've always said Chinese New Year instead of Lunar New Year, but in the more recent years, there has been that transition to say Lunar New Year because of that recognition that a lot of other countries outside of China also celebrate this holiday because, it is based off of the lunar calendar, and it isn't just China who uses the lunar calendar. It's many other countries, like you said, Korea, Japan, who also this new coming of year. And it's not inclusive to say just Chinese Lunar New Year. And so because of that, yes, we wanted to recognize it as a Pan-Asian holiday specifically. And I've spoken to a couple of students who are from Korea or from Japan and from a couple of other countries from that region. But they've, agreed that they also celebrate Lunar New Year in their family. And so in recognition of this, we decided to have more inclusive language in our proclamation. And as I said, we worked with APAC specifically. And so this language has been run through a bunch of different people to make sure that it's as appropriate as it can be. It's agreed upon between a bunch of different communities, and that it's as inclusive as possible.
I
Great,
just want
that's
to
very
ask,
helpful. Thank you. Sure.
Sorry. So inside our own organization, we also people come from different culture. So we have been, even though they're not here, but we do have people come from Korea, come from other culture that's not only Chinese. So we're pretty confident on that.
Thank you. Any other of the committee members, any follow-up questions for the group?
I have just one more. When you send the proposed language, I wonder if you could also send us the APAC contact information, particularly if there's someone you work with there, and also if there is anyone in Farmington that you've worked with. I'm guessing that you only have Farmington through APAC, but if you could just send that along to us, whatever you have.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. We can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. In terms of Farmington, we do have a couple of members on our youth team who are from Farmington. So we can send you their contact information specifically. And then in terms of APAC, a couple of our advisor members are from APAC. So we'll pass the contact of the person that we worked most closely with along as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any last questions? Go ahead, Peter.
I downloaded the document and then I replied all to the email that you sent today, so everyone should have the document. Not
Thank
the
you.
contact information, obviously, but the document, yes.
Right, thank you. Any last questions? Okay,
If you
so
can,
yep, go ahead, Kyle.
just one comment, and if you can update us later, you get the more signature from a Woodbridge resident, that will be very helpful.
Yeah, like I said,
Thank you.
just last weekend we sent out a survey, again, just to collect some more information and more specific information that the platform will be able to. So we're going to try to increase the response count. As of right now, we have 16 responses, but we want to make sure that the information and the data that we're collecting is as credible and as trustworthy as possible. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll be able to update you guys on what kind of specific information we've gathered.
Great, thank you. So what we'll do at this point, we'll take the answers to all of your questions. We will take the document, and in our subsequent meetings, our committee will kind of review everything we've discussed, and then we'll bring our, our ideas to our first selectman, and kind of present the idea and our recommendations. And of course, we'll keep you updated as that process goes along. Ellen, anything else to add to that?
No, I think, it was the first selectman who requested that we look into this, and we thank you very much for all the information. It's very helpful to have the details that you've provided to us. I'm sure if we have further questions, we know how to reach you all. And no, I just want to add my thanks for the very good job you've done in providing the information.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much for making the time.
Thank you so much.
I have all of your contact info emails, so I'll be in touch with you with when we know more. Thank you. And please, you are welcome to stay, but feel no need. Summer vacation has started for you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay,
I'll be
so
heading off to dinner, so bye. Thank you.
bye-bye. Okay. So I think, Ellen, does it make sense for us to reconvene to end that portion of the discussion for now, or would you like to continue? I think we can.
I think we can move on unless anybody
I
wants
think
to talk
so.
more. And if people have more questions, maybe get them to Tahira and me so we can explore them for a subsequent meeting, as we talk about this. One question that I have, but I didn't want to take the time now, and I didn't want to put it on them. What we're going to have to think about, I think, is what standard would we apply to do this? Is it numbers of residents? Is it numbers of requests? It's not just if we're suggesting to the first selectman and the board that they recognize certain holidays or certain celebrations, they might ask us, well, how do we decide which ones, what standards? So I think it's just something for us to think about, and perhaps contacting, maybe in between, Tahira, you and I could contact Farmington and this organization, and then we'll have more information to work with. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So if there's nothing else on that, we'll move out to outreach initiatives and updates. Ellen, I know Laura sent you a note before the meeting, if you don't mind sharing that now.
Sure. Actually, Laura called to, something came up last minute and she was sorry she couldn't be here, but she wanted everyone to know, she's been following the Amity board and what's happening at Amity, that we've had 7 National Merit finalists this year, which is a, very, very impressive record for the school. The #1 school in the state was Greenwich with 14. So I'm sharing that on behalf of Laura.
Thank you. Jennifer, did I see you on here? If you're able to, I know we put a pin in the Human Library effort after Earth Day. Did you want to share anything about that?
No, I don't really have any updates on it. I think I
Okay.
just had there's still about 3 books, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. I think we will breathe some life into that and we can talk a little bit more at a later time of like ideas on how to do that. But I still love the idea. I think we need to when we can put a more concerted effort into that, I think we can grow it for sure.
Yeah, that it'll just take time, that's all.
I think so. I think so. Um, okay, so anything else on outreach initiatives and updates? Anyone have anything? Okay. I'm trying to switch between screens so I can see everyone. Witness Stones project. Ellen, if you don't mind me calling on you again to give an update on our most recent meeting.
Sure. Um, you gave me fair warning, so
I
uh,
did. I'm
um,
pretending this is off the cuff. Yeah.
the first selectman organized a meeting for Tahira and me to meet with the director over at the Historical Society. I apologize, I forget her, Alexa, right? And Muffy German, and I think there was one other person and from the Historical Society and also Dennis was there from the Witness Stone Project, and Joy was on the she was there virtually, as was Alexa actually. And it was a very productive, good meeting. And it was clarified that the Historical Society is supportive of us going ahead. They might even participate with us. Correct me if I don't have the details exactly, but that wasn't clear. But I think it did bring some clarity to the fact that we're talking about two different kinds of projects here, that we're talking about town engagement, about the history of the town and connection to slavery, culminating townwide event with as much participation as possible. Whereas the Historical Society, also looking for the town to be part of it, is really looking at the enslaved family that was connected with the Darling House. And it's very specific, and it's a section or a subsection of the Darling House celebration or recognition, so that they're more complementary than the same thing. We're also sort of brainstorming ideas about fundraising so that we can make this happen. And we don't think we're on a very tight time frame. We think that the Witness Stone Project people will be forgiving about that. Maybe we can just get enough money to reserve our place. And we also clarified that the Historical Society has never had a contract with the Witness Stones people. They have not paid any money. Joy has been helping them out, both because she's interested and I think, thinking perhaps that would end up being an actual project for Witness Stones. And it sounded like Alexa was interested in that, but it wasn't set yet.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad we had that meeting. I think it clarified a lot of things and yeah, so the cost of the project is $3,750. And we would be responsible for, like Ellen said, for fundraising to pay for that. That includes the whole process, the research, the Witness Stones folks hosting 4 different informational sessions where they would present information, invite the community to kind of join us in this journey of researching a family or enslaved person in Woodbridge, and would also include the culminating ceremony and the actual physical witness stones that in speaking with the first selectman, we're in agreement that we would like to place them in a public space where everyone could, walk by and visit with them. I think that's all I have for that. Any questions about that project? Like Ellen said, I think right now I'm kind of Woodbridge like me day mindset. So this will probably either, launch in the fall or early winter, we're thinking.
And do you
Okay.
have fundraising ideas?
Yeah.
We do.
Go ahead, Ellen.
Well, we're pretty sure we'll get some contribution from the town. We've asked Mika about that. And we're thinking to ask different organizations in town, as well as some of the town businesses, which we realize, you know, they contribute to many town events sponsored by town commissions and committees. And we're pretty confident that we'll get there, but we have not like made a list and actually actively started doing it. You know, we're thinking wherever you get your hair cut, wherever your, you know, if your accountant is here in Woodbridge, you know, our vendors that maybe each of us would work to supplement what we can get from town agencies and commissions.
Right. And I mean, one of the benefits of that, besides getting the money to fund this project, is I think Ellen and I talked about, we really want this to be a community effort. So the more people that we can get to contribute, not, you know, financially, definitely, but to kind of buy into this whole idea that this is a community journey, the better the outcome. But yes. Anything else on that? Okay, so moving on to Woodbridge Like Me Day planning. David, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, do you mind
Hi,
giving a brief
everyone.
update on the food truck situation?
It's going to be glorious. Already we have
Great.
4 dynamic, wonderful trucks. Change your plans, everything. And don't have breakfast that day because we're going to have a pizza truck. Lucky's was a wonderful vendor last year, and we're going to have a coffee food truck and an ice cream truck, and it's just going to be. They're all confirmed, and we're in good shape, and they're just having to go through the process of making sure that they're all licensed in Woodbridge, and we're on track.
Thank you for
We pursued the Greek food truck, which would have been so much fun, but they are not available.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question about the
That
Greek
was a
food truck.
bummer. That was a bummer. But unless we decide to shift Woodbridge Like Me Day to go for the food truck, the Greek food truck.
Follow the truck. Yeah, so the thank you, David, for taking on the food truck portion of this. It's a huge undertaking and it intimidates me, so I'm so grateful that you're doing it. The Cafe Rebelde, if you don't know, they have given, I'm not sure if given is the right word. There are new operators of the Cafe Rebelde food truck. I mean the coffee truck. They're focusing now more on their the web side of the business. So what is the new name of the truck, David?
Tarot or something. I'll find it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's now minority owned, woman owned truck. I think she's operating out of Hamden, but she's also now in Woodbridge at the library a couple days a week. And thanks, David, for
Sure, absolutely.
making it happen.
Tano Brews is the name.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
That sounds great. I've been working with John DeMeo at the rec department. He's our new staff person for Woodbridge Like Me. He's awesome. He's been really on it, and it's been a pleasure working with him. So things are moving along. Anyone have any questions about that? If you have any ideas, I mean, Ellen and I, our goal is to get, you know, at least everyone we had last year. If you have ideas about, you know, folks that you would like to add or reach out to, please feel free to email me at any time. If you have ideas for additional activities or whatever, please feel free to reach out. That is all I have on that, unless anyone has any questions. We need to vote on the May minutes, and we are so beyond a quorum that we can do that. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll
Go
move
ahead.
that we accept the May minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Thanks. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Just scrolling through. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Someone please volunteer for the next opening circle so I'm not doing it again.
Did we-
I'll volunteer. If I'm in town, I would,
Who's that?
David.
I'll do it.
David, thank you. Okay, great. Then great, thank you, David. We'll put you down. Appreciate it. The next meeting is Wednesday, July 17th. Throughout the summer, we're gonna meet via Webex because we're all traveling and busy. So I think this is the way to go. Anything
Did we finish
before we
the
adjourn?
Woodbridge and me? Did we finish the Woodbridge and me day?
Yeah,
I
do
was
you
waiting for
have
you to
anything
call me. I was
to
waiting
call
for
you?
me call me. So we were, I don't know if you already told the committee, the Beecher Band is committed for the opening.
Yeah, we did talk about that last month.
Okay.
But
Okay,
yes,
I missed
thank
it
you.
last time. Sure.
No, you were traveling. No problem. Yes, the Beecher Band is committed and they'd like to be first in the lineup, so we will have them kick it off at 11. Thanks, Ka. Okay, so if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn? Do we need a motion to adjourn? Yes, let's be formal. Okay. Mohini, did you motion? Ka, second?
Sure. I'm just typing, so
Okay. Thanks. Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Bye,
I
everyone.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
bye.